Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 458 based on novel. So let's start. That's right. Inheritors of the 9 profound Fire Lord, this world will depend on you in the future. Lulwon looked at Zuna with satisfaction, with a look of envy and relief. Xiao Yang and this girl were so in love with each other, they really envy others. Senior, you. As a woman, Zuna is naturally meticulous. It is not difficult to find some clues from Lulwon's successive actions, and she immediately said worriedly, "You can take the opportunity to cultivate, and I will answer any questions for you. In the next time, wait for the two of you to succeed." After Lulwon finished speaking, he avoided Zuna's question and sat down with his legs crossed. The countless crystal blocks in the crystal palace surged around, and then there were ancient waves on them. It was engraved on a sheepskin scroll. The inscription was complex and profound, but it contained some terrible power. Zuna sighed faintly, and then the golden flame spread, slowly delving into this precious scroll left by Ju Yuan. Lulwon is right. Although this fighting skill is infinitely powerful, it is in conflict with the dragon god transformation, so Xiao Yang cannot cultivate it. Now it is the best belonging to Zuna. Brother Xiao Yang, Zuna will follow you. As soon as the words fell, this stubborn little princess began to practice. I have to say that with the help of the 9 profound Fire Lord's reincarnation seal, the practice is actually twice the result with half the effort. On the other side, Xiao Yang's office. Xiao Yang sat quietly in the high sky of the Crystal Palace, trying to calm the restlessness in his heart as much as possible. The 2 inscriptions on his hands were calmed down by spiritual power, and he took a deep breath, and the glass-colored holy flames came out. The power contained in the 2 inscriptions is exactly the same, and it is extremely difficult to neutralize. No matter which inscription is rashly triggered, it will cause a scene of uneven energy. This situation is undoubtedly a bit more difficult than the fusion of holy flames. Inflammation has no choice. This situation did not last long, during which Xiao Yang had been exploring the 2 inscriptions with the fire of the glazed holy flame and spiritual power. Although there was no gain, as time passed, the 2 inscriptions suddenly emitted a soft halo, and then the spiritual power that enveloped Xiao Yang's Nigong pills, an eerie sense of touch spread throughout his body. At a certain moment, following this kind of change, Xiao Yang felt that his intelligence was sinking into darkness, and following the pull of the 2 inscriptions, he entered a strange space again. When the darkness subsided, the dazzling blood-colored sun hung in the sky, and the dazzling sunlight actually caused the body formed by Xiao Yang's spiritual power to sting slightly. This is the space in the inscription. Xiao Yang lightly touched the ground with his palm, and he could clearly feel a spiritual pressure pervading the ground. He immediately raised his head and said in surprise. Because at this time, in the slightly withered spiritual world, 2 blood-red suns hung in it, and the hot temperature spread, and there were many powerful mental fluctuations, which made Xiao Yang feel a sense of powerlessness, a kind of kneeling. The urge to go down. It's a strange void, full of spiritual power, it seems to be suppressing my power. Is this the assessment of the inscription or is there another mystery? Wait. All the power in my body seems to have disappeared completely. Suddenly, sweat dripped from Xiao Yang's forehead, and his face instantly flushed red. The soil on the ground was also extremely hot from the 2 suns, and it had begun to wriggle under Xiao Yang's gaze, flowing like quicksand. The quicksand surged, and the scorching high temperature actually caused the entire void to become distorted. Dragon God transformation, clan marks, fighting soul, devil's cube. He seemed to have sensed something. Looking at the distorted void, Xiao Yang let out a low roar, but no matter what kind of roar Xiao Yang made, the power in his body did not respond. It was as if Xiao Yang had no power in his body at this time, he was just like an ordinary person. Can you only rely on the power of instinct? This magical inscription is really weird. Xiao Yang grinned, his expression extremely solemn. Boom. The next moment, before Xiao Yang could speak, the quicksand on the ground flowed rapidly. A vortex of quicksand was like a black hole, spinning continuously, absorbing the void that devoured the world. The terrifying suction made Xiao Yang's body shake. Shaking, dizziness struck. No way. Seeing this, Xiao Yang didn't have time to think about it, he directly resisted the huge suction force, and then ran away. In the current situation, if you are involved in it, I am afraid that there will be no scum that will be swallowed up. The quicksand black hole on the ground spreads and devours everything, and the 2 suns above the sky are not idle. The edge of the sun suddenly cracks a tiny crack, and then the continuous blood-colored energy instantly falls from the sky. The blood-colored energy formed a long blood-colored river, falling down, and even the void was corroded. An enemy on the back. Dead end. While running, Xiao Yang said in a deep voice, feeling the destructive power contained in the black hole of the quicksand whirlpool and those long blood-colored rivers. No, it can't be a dead end. I must have overlooked something. Quicksand whirlpool black hole, 2 suns, spiritual blood river, 2 inscriptions. Xiao Yang kept muttering, as if he was looking for that very faint trace of life. As of now, I can only give it up. It is impossible for a weak ordinary human body to be an opponent of these forces. Xiao Yang stopped running, stretched out both palms at the same time, held the quicksand with one hand, and plunged into the blood-colored river with the other. The yellow quicksand corroded Xiao Yang's arm, white bones appeared, and the skin was instantly engulfed by it. On the other side, the blood-colored energy spread along Xiao Yang's arm and spread towards Xiao Yang's heart. Looking at this appearance, it was swallowing Xiao Yang. Since you want to devour, then come. Seeing this, Xiao Yang didn't have any fear. A flash of madness flashed in his heart, and then his 2 palms dragged 2 kinds of power, and they closed against his chest abruptly. Boom! Heart-piercing pain radiated from his arms, but the madness in Xiao Yang's eyes did not weaken. Slowly, the hot energy storm began to rage, and all the power in this space immediately subsided. The quicksand and the blood-colored river were transformed into 2 ancient inscriptions. At the same time, the illusion was shattered, the interior space disintegrated, and Xiao Yang's mental strength was returning. But at this time the 2 inscriptions in his hand had been slowly intertwined and began to fuse. Therefore, Xiao Yang's bones emitted bursts of energy, buzzing, blood, and skin exuding an extremely comfortable breath. Crash! I don't know how long it took. Xiao Yang's eyes suddenly opened, and a breath as deep as the ocean turned into a mental storm, completely sweeping the Crystal Palace. This level of spiritual power is much more tyrannical than Xiao Yang before. His eyes shuddered, and then an ancient rune flickered on Xiao Yang's palm. When this rune appeared, the array crystals inscribed with the inscriptions in the Crystal Palace suddenly became quiet. Did you succeed? Lu Luan stood up, with 2 scrolls in his hands appearing behind him, and a deep excitement appeared in his eyes. At this time, in front of Xiao Yang, an ancient rune that was no more than the size of a palm flickered slightly, and between the flickering runes, an extremely terrifying wave spread out. That is spiritual power. But now the spiritual power covering the divine inscription seems to have penetrated the void and spread beyond the Wufu. The full version of the divine movement inscription was suspended in front of the chest, and the spiritual power was like 1,000 vast and boundless tidal waves. He looked at the mysterious ghost realm outside Wufu. Spiritual power swept in, turning into a vast energy storm that ravaged time and space, directly piercing the shackles of the void, and taking the current situation in the Shengui domain to the bottom of my heart. The space outside the martial palace is extremely dark, and under this darkness, a strong dark aura fills the place, and they corrode all the voids here like a gangrene. There was an extremely uneasy sense of danger. On a high platform in the dark space, a thin figure shaped like a dead tree appeared, his jet-black hair fell down at will, and a wave of incomparable evil charm actually made the surrounding space extremely uneasy. Lu Luan, the power of inscriptions? I didn't expect you to be alive. When Xiao Yang wanted to explore further, the thin black shadow suddenly noticed something, and turned around to look inside the Wufu. A look of surprise flashed in his eyes, then the majestic black energy spread, directly overflowing Xiao Yang's spirit of exploration. The power dissipated. Is this the so-called half-evil god rank? With his sight blocked, Xiao Yang took a few steps back, and a groan could not help coming from his chest. Then he opened his eyes and felt a sense of weightlessness. He couldn't help shaking his head. The fluctuation of the level just now is probably the semi-evil god-level powerhouse guarded outside the Shengui realm by what Senior Lu Luan said. Such a coveted place with such terrifying power is probably the biggest obstacle to this trip. It will be good if it is successfully integrated. It was not until Xiao Yang opened his eyes that Lu Luan, who was beside him, spoke slowly. Zuna she. As soon as he opened his eyes, Xiao Yang saw Zuna beside him in deep cultivation, and frowned. No problem. This is her own chance. Lu Luan said. However, do you know why the people in the Great Thousand Palace are so eager for Zhu Yuan? Even if his mansion fell outside the domain, he did not hesitate to spend a lot of money to send you here. Lu Luan gathered the 2 scrolls of the formation map in his hand, and then narrowed his eyes, looking at the broken void in the Wufu, which was profound. Is it not just because of Senior Zhu Yuan? Although the treasures in the martial house are precious, the things here are far from enough to make even the demon slayer king coveted. Xiao Yang took the divine movement inscription back to Nigong Wn, and then got up. Thinking about the scene just happened in his mind, he couldn't help sighing. But now Xiao Yang, the complete integration of the divine movement inscriptions has brought the formation of his formation patterns to an unprecedented level, and at least 200,000 formation patterns are not a problem. This is just a fusion of divine inscriptions, far from impacting the emperor. 200,000 array patterns, that is a big man comparable to a digital double reincarnation level powerhouse. After the Shengui Saint clan was destroyed by Zhu Yuan, there was a peak Red King rank powerhouse who entered the Wufu. All the power left by Zhu Yuan was used to deal with this guy, which caused such a situation. The reason why Dark Yangong is brooding about this is because of the 3 characters of executing the Demon King. Lu Luan said meaningfully, "In the Dakian Palace, once you become the Demon Slayer King, you will be granted something called the Demon Slayer Order by the Dakian Palace. Even I don't know what a Demon Execution Order is, it may be a trace of energy, or a piece of paper. All I know is that the Demon Execution Order in the hands of many Demon Execution Kings is the key to unlocking a certain divine item in the Great Thousand Palace." After Lu Luan finished speaking, the void above his palm shook, and then a cyan stone box about an inch in size emerged. This is what Zhu Yuan left behind. It is said that inside is his Demon Execution Order, but I can't open it now. Lu Luan handed Xiao Yang the blue stone box and the 2-volume array diagram, and then his expression became relieved again. "Senior." Xiao Yang suddenly made a sound, as if he was aware of it. "Get ready. Next, I will transform into the pattern of Emperor Road, and help you to attack the Emperor." A long-standing voice emerged, and suddenly the entire Crystal Palace was filled with awe. Boom. At the same time, in the entire shattered Wufu, brilliant blue luster continued to overflow, and the barren ground, the distorted void, and the shattered palace continued to gather directly above the Crystal Palace. "This is Xiao Yang." When this kind of strange fluctuation appeared, dozens of Heaven's chosen ones who had already entered the martial palace raised their heads from the broken palace they were in, looking solemnly at the top of the sky. Above the Crystal Palace, a graceful woman appeared. The slender jade hands were constantly changing. With the changes in her handprints, the energy in the entire martial arts palace actually appeared extremely terrifying. "With my spirit, transform into a formation pattern, Dilu." The vast voice sounded, and the countless cyan energies became quiet in an instant. Then, under the change of Lu Luan's handprint, they slowly outlined into ancient and mysterious patterns, covering the world. "The Emperor's Road has been revealed, it's up to you next. Zhu Yuan. I'm here to accompany you." The last sound fell, and countless golden light patterns ignited on Lu Luan's delicate body, and then his body turned into countless fluorescent fragments, quietly disappearing between the world. There was a faint smile hanging on the corner of his mouth. Looking at Xiao Yang and this shattered martial arts palace, it was finally over. Congratulations to the seniors. Xiao Yang was not busy attacking the Emperor, but with a look of respect on his face, he handed over to the place where Lu Luan disappeared. Even if these 2 seniors fell completely, they left behind countless treasures for future generations. Moreover, Lu Luan was wanted by the Great Thousand World, but he did not have the slightest hatred. Zhu Yuan was dead, and she had no intention of surviving in the world, although there was some escape. The ingredients exist, but they are deeply respected by Xiao Yang. Boom. The golden stairs have a total of 100 steps. From the ground of the Crystal Palace to the sky of Wufu, there are countless dense golden patterns on the stairs. Every time you look at it, your scalp will tingle. God-moving inscription. He swept away the other doubts in his mind, and then the divine inscription appeared. This time it gently bathed Xiao Yang's body, making a humming sound, as if it was desperate for something. 1 step. Boom. Xiao Yang took the first step, and just after taking the first step, a scorching fire filled the air, as if a flame was burning his most vulnerable internal organs. The pain caused Xiao Yang's expression to be cold and distorted. The second step. Gritting his teeth, he didn't care about this level of pain, and was moving forward. This time, the coercion derived from the spiritual power caused Xiao Yang's body to collapse heavily, as if hundreds of thousands of catties of mountains were pressing on his body. Third step. The Emperor Road has a total of 100 steps. Although Xiao Yang faced every step of the way, the dangers he faced were enough to make him utterly irreversible, but no matter the threat, Xiao Yang actually held on to it in the end. A breath remains, and it is immortal. As Xiao Yang crossed the first rank, the mental power in the body actually expanded a bit, and even the connection between the divine inscription and Xiao Yang became more thorough. Time is passing, and Xiao Yang is also working hard to climb the 100th order of the Emperor Road. After the 100th rank, Fang is the emperor. This guy is really an out-and-out lunatic. No wonder he was able to obliterate so many foreign evil races at his age and strength. At this moment, dozens of heaven's favorites looked up at Xiao Yang, who had stepped on the end of the emperor's road, and the shock in their hearts could not be further increased. They don't even know what the emperor road is, but they can smell the terrifying power that makes him tremble. They even knew that the biggest beneficiary of the current trip to the Wufu would be Xiao Yang, but because of Xiao Yang's heroic deeds before, they were not too jealous now. The greatest opportunity of Wufu was obtained by Xiao Yang, but they also obtained a lot of treasures, and at this time Xiao Yang had been quietly hanging an ancient rune in front of him, which was obvious. Time was passing, and it was unknown how long he spent in the Wufu until Xiao Yang successfully climbed to the peak of the Emperor Road. Boom! With a sudden sound, a buzzing explosion sounded. Xiao Yang, who stepped on the end of the Emperor's Road, was surrounded by mysterious golden light patterns that waved out. The golden light pattern and the divine movement inscription whistled together, and an extremely mysterious spiritual force swept out like a tide of energy, as if calling out to this shattered void. At the same time, the entire Wufu void, which had been shattered for a long time, suddenly became restless, and a trace of dark aura, like a demon that had been sleeping for a long time, slowly woke up. No! These should be the evil auras left in the martial arts. Without the suppression of Senior Ju Yuan and the woman's power, the void here can no longer suppress them. The Tianfeng woman snorted coldly. There was worry in his eyes. In an instant, before these arrogant sons could act, one after another dark shadows like ghosts suddenly fell out of countless mountain peaks and palaces and woke up. Not good. Phoenix Sky Shadow. Astonishment appeared in Feng Qin's eyes of the Tianfeng clan. At the same time, a loud cry emerged, and a fiery red energy phoenix shadow stretched out its wings and roared out. Feng Ying soared, and the entire void was buzzing, and it actually carried a terrifying power that could shatter space. Boom! The seemingly terrifying attack fiercely roared away at those sticky shadows, a low muffled thunder sounded, and the black shadows that had just condensed exploded in an instant, turning into countless pitch-black spots. It works! Seeing Feng Qin's actions now, the other powerhouses were overjoyed, and they used all their powers, and they actually smashed these black shadows to pieces like the former. It's just that although these black shadows are extremely tyrannical, they don't have any wisdom at all. Brother Xiao Yang. At the same time, an elegant figure slowly vacated from the crystal palace below and came to Xiao Yang's side. Are you awake? Xiao Yang opened his mouth lightly, but the divine inscription in front of him started to roll, and traces of golden light turned into golden threads, which contained extreme anger. As for the target, it was undoubtedly those black spots. This guy is very strong. Zuna nodded. Even if this evil shadow turned into countless black spots, a trace of terrifying coercion still spread out. Try it, otherwise, dozens of heaven's arrogant sons will be a great loss to our great world. I am very happy. Anyway, I listened to Brother Xiao Yang. As soon as the voice fell, the pair of people were bathed in dazzling holy flames at the same time, as if they were working together to show something. The black spot began to squirm, and it turned out to converge towards a certain point in the space, and the void distorted, as if some huge creature fell into the space. This is the treasure of the Wufu Palace. You can take it and leave here. Lung Luo Chen will definitely take action to save you when he sees this thing. Otherwise, you will not escape bad luck on this trip. After a while, Xiao Yang took out the blue box and threw it at Feng Qin. His eyes kept on those black spots. The black spots have begun to condense, and a looming evil body is crossing the limitation of the void and entering here. The one in the blue box is naturally Ju Yuan's demon slayer, but his strength has not reached the triple reincarnation level, and he cannot open it even if he is stronger than Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang, don't you look down on people? No matter how we say it, we are still the best of heaven among the major forces in the human world. How can it be as bad as you say? The conversation between Xiao Yang and Feng Qin fell into the ears of some conscientious people, and immediately blushed and roared at Xiao Yang. If you don't leave at this time, it will only stay here forever. And you don't have anything holy in your hands, how do you deal with this evil body? Staying here is just adding a burden to Brother Xiao Yang. Zuna's reincarnation mark between her eyebrows reflected countless 9-color golden crows, and then scolded these guys coldly. As for Xiao Yang, a huge amount of spiritual power surged, and with the inscription of the divine movement, a scroll of formations actually rotated at a high speed in his palm and took shape. The number of array patterns inscribed in it has faintly surpassed the 300,000 mark. Come out, I've been waiting for you for a long time. I just don't know which big man from outside the realm. Xiao Yang and Zuna both exerted their power to the extreme, and they didn't care about those arrogant sons. The matter had come to this point, and the retreat had been left to them, and then their eyes slowly stared at the void in front of them, where the black spots gathered most closely. A mere reincarnation level peak, and a reincarnator who has not yet been touched by reincarnation. Is this your confidence? A black light appeared, and then an extremely blurred man's body slowly appeared. The void trembled, the air in the space instantly solidified, and a wave of fear spread uncontrollably in my heart. Red King rank. How can it be? This place is in the martial palace. How could the evil race from outside the territory enter it? Looking at this scene, some of the proud people in the sky finally burst into tears. What Xiao Yang and the two said were actually true. Don't be afraid, everyone. The strength after we work together is enough to kill him completely. The next moment, there were several men with surprise expressions on their faces, and the reincarnation aura in their bodies began to roll. Seeking your own way. Crack. The devilish energy lingered, piercing the void at will, and then the two heavenly favored sons who had just revealed surprises were instantly engulfed. The eyes of many heaven's favorites sank, and the messengers used to summon their respective forces loomed in their hands, ready to be displayed. Don't waste your time, this is outside the realm, not the big world in your eyes. Just in order to pay homage to the half-evil god class of this seat, let's be buried together. After the man finished speaking, the viscous demonic energy fell from his body like rolling thunder, and it turned out to completely imprison all the voids in the shattered martial palace. The power of space has completely failed here. Now you should understand, right? Xiao Yang opened his mouth and looked at Feng Qin of the Phoenix clan. If this guy hadn't had an affair with the Phoenix clan, Xiao Yang didn't want to waste his good intentions. Go. Although Feng Qin is proud, she does not have the holy flame or the power of the seal of reincarnation. Staying here to face a powerhouse of the half-evil rank will have no effect except to increase the load on Xiao Yang and the two. There is a passage behind the crystal palace. Xiao Yang spoke calmly, and the glass-colored flames began to spread on his body. At the same time, the majestic spiritual power also worked together with the blessing of the divine inscription. Retreat. Feng Qin took the remaining powerhouses, and the speed skyrocketed, directly entering the only channel in the crystal palace. Want to run? From ancient times to the present, no one has been able to slip away from the palm of my Shenyan Rakshaza. The ghostly demonic sound deeply pierced the heartstrings of the strong people present. This powerful magic power made them unable to raise any resistance in their hearts. Yes, just above the never-ending fear. Is this guy's strength a quadruple reincarnation? Or the five-fold reincarnation stage? Or a more powerful existence? Stay here completely. Shenyan Rakshaza had a sarcastic look on his face, his broad palms were raised, and the dense dark evil lines were wriggling, and it turned into the shadow of a 1,000-jong-sized devil python, escaping towards the passage into the crystal palace. The Feng Qin and the others tore them away. At the corner of the devil's mouth, the evil spirit is in full swing, and it contains extremely evil power. It seems that even the reincarnation will fall down in one bite. Quack. The speed of the blood of the devil python is extremely fast, and it is simply not something that a reincarnation powerhouse like them can handle. Devoured cleanly. Damn, it's too late. Feng Qin has been guarding the entrance of the passage. She wanted to wait for the rest of the people to step into the passage safely, and she was retreating, but watching this devil python struggle, the surface of her skin suddenly solidified, and the touch of death made it move. It is extremely difficult, let alone mobilizing the power of reincarnation in the body. Even though the strength of this group of strong people is spread around the first level of reincarnation, but under the pressure of the half-evil god-level Shenyan Rakshaza, the power of reincarnation is useless. Now, in the eyes of Shenyan Rakshaza, their strength is as weak as a baby. Except for Zuna because of the reincarnation seal, Xiao Yang possessed a lot of holy flames to reduce or even fight against this kind of coercion. The rest of the strong would not have such good luck. Quack, clack. One after another, the favored sons of the sky were swallowed by the devil python one after another, and while chewing, there was a trace of gentle power fed back to the body of Shenyan Rakshaza, absorbed the power of several strong men, and now Wufu Void can almost completely ignore his threat to suppress him. Go. The void closed, and Feng Qin left here with the remaining 2/3 of the heaven's favored sons, and the third of the heavenly favored sons, whose body and spirit were destroyed, was also expected. Why are you doing so many ridiculous struggles? Isn't there a long-standing saying in the great world, ants are just ants after all? They didn't stop Feng Qin and the others from leaving, because Shenyan Rakshaza's main target was Xiao Yang, and the passage was reserved by Zhu Yuan in advance. Xiao Yan's face was tense, and a murderous intent emerged. He ignored Shenyan Rakshaza's ridicule, and the formation on his palm quickly condensed. He still underestimated the power of the heretic god rank. Now Xiao Yang's top combat power should be in the quadruple reincarnation level with all his strength, but the guy in front of him clearly surpassed this level. The half-evil rank, the strength is comparable to the strength of the human beings in the 5th layer of reincarnation. For Xiao Yang, there is still some distance for such a behemoth. However, at this time, in order to buy time for everyone to escape, Xiao Yang and the two had to stand up and provoke the lead. Moreover, they were inspired by the goddess Yaoji. Since the highest form of holy flame is the so-called holy pattern, what about the power after fusion? Back then, the goddess Yaoji showed the power of the fusion of holy patterns in front of her. Although the fusion was somewhat inferior, it opened a new door for Xiao Yang. Ignorant ants will eventually pay for their ignorance. After I capture you, I will drink blood and cut off your skin and fur bit by bit. Shenyan Rakshaza sneered, raised his dark palms, the void trembled, and an evil crack ripped apart the void, swallowing up Xiao Yang's location like a black hole vortex. This seemingly simple move was enough to kill Xiao Yang and Zuna easily. Reincarnation print. 9 Profound fire feather. Zuna did not rashly alarm Xiao Yang. The sweet voice accompanied by golden crows enveloped the world, causing the evil forces spreading out of those black holes to quickly retreat. The 8th holy flame ranked on the holy flame list, even if Zuna's strength has not yet reached Samsara's strength, unable to condense the holy pattern, with the source of holy flame and the reincarnation seal as a guide, it turns out to have a terrifying power that is enough to shake the Shenyan Rakshaza. Saint Flame 8th, extremely tyrannical. Let me try it. The heavens, the magic formation. The pressure on Zuna's body increased sharply, and the huge pressure caused a touch of pain to appear on her pretty face. At this moment, a huge roar sounded like a giant dragon roaring beside Chen Ying. Xiao Yang opened his eyes gently, and there seemed to be endless vast stars spreading in his eyes. The inscription of divine movement quietly floated in front of him, and his pale palm stretched out and patted the position of Shenyan Rakshaza. At that time, the palm of his hand was filled with endless dim light, and a golden light pattern quickly enlarged on Xiao Yang's palm, and circles of ancient golden patterns slanted in every corner of this world at a speed visible to the naked eye. The golden radiance fell, decorating this shattered military mansion with extra splendor. Impossible. Immediately, sensing Xiao Yang's actions in front of him, Shenyan Rakshaza's pupils shrank suddenly. Looking at this distorted space, golden light filled the air, and it was filled with divine purifying power. He couldn't help but lose his voice. Countless years ago, his Shenyan Rakshaza was just an inconspicuous fellow among the foreign evil clan. After the master of the Wufu killed the entire core members of the Shengui clan, he slowly became the Red King rank, and then became ambitious. He wanted to invade the Wufu, but unexpectedly, the army he led was defeated by the fallen Zhu Yuan. If he hadn't had the means to protect himself, he would have fallen. But since that time, Shenyan Rakshaza disappeared, and when he appeared, he shocked the evil clan outside the realm with his half-evil god-level strength. In the outer realm, this guy can be regarded as a truly gifted generation. But even if he was so tyrannical, he clearly remembered that when he led the army to invade the Wufu, in the end it was not the Lord of Wufu, but the golden formation in the hands of a weak woman. The figure of the python shattered suddenly, immediately spread a golden ripple from the edge of the void, and in just one breath, the entire Wufu was covered, as if coated with a halo of scenery, extremely sacred. Little beast, why are you able to control this formation? There was a strong sense of fear in Shenyan Rakshaza's eyes, and then he floated in the void, and killing intent fluctuated in his eyes. Even if it was thousands of years apart, once again feeling the coercion conveyed by the heavens and devils at close range, Shenyan Rakshaza's heart was still shocked. That is already forming a fear. Don't you know, why ask again? Xiao Yang looked at Shenyan Rakshaza with a terrified face, and immediately showed a strange smile and joked. It's mystifying. Even if you won that guy's true heritage, it's just with your current strength, but you're just throwing yourself into the net. After Shenyan Rakshaza finished speaking, he temporarily suppressed the fear in his body. Drops of blood lingering with a cyan halo on his body began to emerge. The golden light released by the array is also full of restless fluctuations. Obviously, Shenyan Rakshaza, who is tyrannical like a half-evil god, also smelled a truly moving force from this demon formation. It seems that this guy is really difficult to deal with. If it were an ordinary Red King rank, we would be able to kill him with our combined efforts, but this guy is a bit beyond the scope of our defense. It should be almost time, they should have left. The golden formation on the palm of the hand was running, and every grass and tree in the entire martial house was under Xiao Yang's control. But when Xiao Yang saw the blue blood gushing out from the palm of the Shenyan Rakshaza in front of him, he suddenly shares of deep fear spread. Brother Xiao Yang. Zuna has the protection of the lower body on her body, but at this time, her aura has become disordered, and the display of the seal of reincarnation and the holy flame has indeed exceeded the limit that Zuna can bear. Zuna, I want to try it. Suddenly, Xiao Yang looked at Shenyan Rakshaza aside, and his tone suddenly changed, even though the blue blood in Shenyan Rakshaza's hand was bursting with an icy cold touch that made his scalp numb. Xiao Yang had no fear. Just crazy. If you don't have enough pressure, how can you fight back and grow up? Okay. Zuna nodded, the seal of reincarnation burned like a blazing blade, and the golden crow actually slowly descended on Xiao Yang's body. Not much to say, no need to say much, the unreserved trust made Xiao Yang feel warm. The All-Heaven Demon formation is one of the 2-volume formations left by Senior Lu. It was indeed able to deal with the half-evil **** level at its peak, but now I can only display 330,000 core inscriptions, combined with the power of the Holy Flame. There is no problem in temporarily imprisoning the ordinary 4th-level reincarnation level alien powerhouses. As for strangulation, I am afraid that the 3rd level can be strangled. After all, the vitality of extraterritorial creatures is too tenacious. So the formation I'm using now can't trap him, it can only buy us some time. Xiao Yang's eyes flickered, the demon formations of the heavens began to operate, and the countless golden rays of light were like sawtooths emitting a terrifying power. Brother Xiao Yang, let it go. Saint flames poured out from the top of Zuna's delicate body, and surrounded Xiao Yang. This guy's power is too huge, far from being something they can simply deal with. Holy flame fusion, holy pattern fusion, I hope you won't let me down. Xiao Yang made a quick calculation in his mind, and obviously he was also looking forward to it. But even if it is the worst plan, he has the powers such as the Devil's Cube and clan marks, and no matter how bad it is, he still has the power to take Zuna out of here. What he did now was just that Xiao Yang wanted to further integrate the holy flame he created. Boom. Shenyan Rakshaza seemed to want to rely on cyan blood to perform some ancient ultimate move, and the golden light scattered from the martial house swept in together, vaguely turning into a golden holy sword with a volume of more than 1,000 meters behind her. Above the holy sword, immortality radiated out, and the holy power to slay evil with the terrifying oppression of killing all things, and several kinds of power were readily available. When Xiao Yang broke through the Emperor's division, the formations no longer existed such as formation stones. During the activation of the divine inscription, the number of core inscriptions poured out. The forces of evil have a deadly repression. Today's Wufu is the All-Heaven Demon formation, and the All-Heaven Demon formation is the Wufu. Everything here is under Xiao Yang's control. The Devil formation of the heavens, slay. Seeing that the time was ripe, Xiao Yang's eyes filled with murderous intent, his hands protruded from the air, as if holding the holy sword with both arms, and then he waved forcefully at the Shenyan Rakshaza who was close at hand. Go. Chung chung. The ancient sound of the sword sounded, and the energy of heaven and earth in the entire Wufu instantly solidified, and the blade of the holy sword fell down. The seemingly ordinary attack made the complexion of Shenyan Rakshaza look unsightly like never before. Very tyrannical power, actually able to control that guy's formation to the current level. My Shenyan Rakshaza admits that you are the strongest person I have encountered since I was promoted to the half-evil **** rank. After Shenyan Rakshaza finished speaking, the cyan blood on the palm of his hand suddenly boiled, and then a regular arrangement began in front of him. Boom. The golden holy sword slashed down, the void collapsed, and hundreds of millions of golden holy lights were sprayed out. The power of the golden holy light was soft, but wherever it went, all the dark evil forces that appeared because of the arrival of the Shenyan Rakshaza were instantly obliterated by it. Clean. Finally, when the golden holy sword was about to fall in front of Shenyan Rakshaza, the blood wrapped in the cyan luster suddenly trembled, and under Xiao Yang's gaze, a strange pattern was formed. There are not too many gorgeous things on the pattern, it just has a mysterious huge creature. The creature has developed limbs, and it is impossible to see what the specific outline is, and the head of this creature can be vaguely seen. 12 eyes. Xiao Yang was a little curious, but his eyes were actually right, and then a heavy feeling of dizziness followed. This simple glance, it seems that his mind and soul are trembling for it. What exactly are these 12-eyed ancestor pictures? Boom. When the two clashed, hot energy ripples spread out like tides, and countless cracks in the void, large and small, were torn out, penetrating the mansion abruptly. Let's start. After a short period of dizziness, Xiao Yan swept away the curiosity in his heart, ignored Shenyan Rakshaza's changes, and began his last madness. Because Xiao Yan knew that just relying on this level of magic formation power Holy Sword was not enough to truly kill him. At the same time, Xiao Yang sat quietly in the void. No matter how shattered the surrounding void was, it would not help. The soul power in the body surged, and even Fen Ju started to run. A small flame cauldron lingered on the top of Xiao Yang's head, bursting with extremely ancient fluctuations. After the small flame cauldron appeared, Shenyan Rakshaza frowned. There was an extremely terrifying aura on this thing. And within Xiao Yang's body, 5 holy flames of different colors were directly separated, and then under Xiao Yang's skillful control, they began to condense holy patterns. Zutu suppressed you and others. The mighty evil sound wave turned into a tidal wave of energy and spread out. Suddenly, Shenyan Rakshaza roared coldly, and the 12-eyed creature pattern on the palm of the hand flickered, spreading out with an extremely evil aura. For a time, the all-heaven demon formation along the way had a very serious sense of collapse, and even on the demon slayer sword that was condensed by the all-heaven demon formation, small cracks continued to rapidly accelerate under the resistance of the latter. Enlarge. Looking at this appearance, I am afraid that the holy sword will not last long before it will completely shatter, and once the holy sword shatters, the formations of the heavens and the devils will also be self-destructed. Without the protection of the all-heaven demon formation, the lives of Xiao Yang and the 2 of them were in the hands of Shenyan Rakshaza, as insignificant as ants. This video will end here.